Well, happy Saturday. I hope you had an amazing time this weekend, or when you watch this replay. This is an unscheduled uh, live that I'm doing. And I really am doing this because I want to make up for some of the time that I've lost so far this month, being, April being the financial literacy month. And so I'm going to go right into the content. If you don't know who I am Shateka Husser, and I help you retire before you expire. So that's just you desiring what you aspire. I am the one you hire. Of course, my goal always is to get your bank account on fire with a whole lot of lifetime tax-free retirement income that you will not outlive. And of course, I love to have fun with that because most people really don't know what I do, but I love what I do and I like having fun doing it. So, with it being Saturday, we want to make this as fun as possible. What you see in front of you are, of course, the various types of employer plans that most people are aware of, but don't really know how they probably function. Today, the purpose of this live, and you can certainly ask questions. I see someone looking in. If you have any questions, we want to talk to you today about why the 401k or the employer match doesn't matter, right? For most people, once they figure out what's going on with these employer plans, and when I say employer plans, I'm talking about everything that you see on my screen. I'm also talking about pension plans, right? Because we're going to deep dive into some of this. The main thing that most people don't really understand is that all of them are actually tax codes. And with all of them being tax codes, the tax code is not written favorably for the average person, right? And that is why the person that understands how business works and how they can actually not pay as much taxes usually end up getting a business to be able to write off some taxes legally, okay? And so that job, or they want to get a business, things of that nature, because they understand the cash flow, which is Robert Kiyosaki's, when you start thinking about Rich Dad, Poor Dad, he speaks about the four cash quadrants and how they play a part in terms of taxation and how the wealthier are taxed versus how the rich is taxed. So these are actually the four quadrants. So we think about, the left side of money being the wrong side of money. He says that 95% of people are on the wrong side of money, meaning that 95% of people are trading time for money. And how are they trading time for money? They're either working for themselves or working for someone else, but they're trading time for money. And that is the reason why we want to make sure people really grasp this concept, because most of people's life is spent working, and it doesn't have to be that way, because once you get the information, you know what to do and you can do something quickly about it. Because once you know better, you can absolutely do better, right? So if 95% of people on the wrong side of money, only 5% of people on the right side of money, what are they doing? They're doing investments, right? They are doing, business. They're the business owner, they're the investor. In other words, their money is working for them and making what's called money babies. They're producing money babies so that their money babies is making more money for them. Okay, so people that have wealth and understand how money works, they do not buy liabilities but earned income. They do not trade time for money to purchase items that they want to have as a liability of any sort. They take the they take the capital investment income, and that is what actually purchases the liability. Okay, but let's get back to the taxation. The tax code is written for the who? The investor and the business owner. It's written for the investor and the business owner because Uncle Sam just loved them, right? When you start looking at how we're taxed, you're taxed a lot more heavily when you have any of those other types of tax code, because you're going to be taxed later in the future for most, right? Because they like those plans because they're deferred plans. And if they're deferred plans, that means that gives them a different tax bracket today. So they don't have to pay that much taxes today. But oh, by the way, they're going to pay a whole lot more taxes in the future. So today I'm bringing to you a new presentation about retirement and tax code. And what does this look like for the average person? So I say, you know what? The 401k, the employer match, does it really matter? When you start looking at a lot of different things that we're going to talk about here in just a second, let's just look at it real quick. Like I said before, all of them are 401k, 403b, 457, IRA, TSP, Roth, not the Roth because it's actually been taxed, but IRAs, they all are tax codes that you have to pay taxes on, right? They regulate how they, being the government, regulate how you can make contributions, when you can take out your withdrawal, how and when the investment will be taxed. I mean, it governs everything. It controls everything, right? You have no liquidity. You can't touch your own money until you're 59 and a half or older. And if you do before, you're going to get penalized. So don't have an emergency. don't have a medical challenge where you have to use your money. All right. So let's look at this. Everything is thrown at you at one time. So let me just break this all down to you. These are your market investments, everything on the left. And it tells you what each one of these tax codes are written for. 401k, okay, that's primarily anyone that's working in a job. They pretty much may, offer them a 401k. All right. IRA, they can offer that as well at any employer. Teachers usually have a 403b. You have 457 for your law enforcement, your firemen, and the government employees that they offer those too. I know some people that work for the Port of Authority that have 457s, and so those are the types of what we call tax codes that those employers are being taxed by, where you're going to end up paying taxes in the future if you have any one of these tax codes. All right. Now look at bonds, CDs, should have been bonds, CDs, savings accounts, multi-year guaranteed annuities, those types. They guarantee some type of, growth on your money, and there's no market risk, there's guarantees, but the returns are very low and there are taxes, right? But what if you can tap into what's called the IRS code 7702 right here in the middle, right where my cursor is, higher returns, tax code 7702. You can potentially make higher returns, have no market risk, and eliminate the taxes because of the way you understand how to take the money out of this contribution, right? So the contribution I'm talking about, and we talk about it all the time, retirement readiness income account. This is tax-free growth. I wish I could move my face so you can see what it's saying, but I can't. Tax-free growth and distributions. This is your best option for retirement. We don't know that. We're going to look at it a little further. Think about the dollar for dollar average account, getting the most from your investment through the power of arbitrage. Arbitrage is what the person that understands how money works and how retirement accounts work understand how to put their money where it needs to go. And we're going to talk about that. A dollar saved is a dollar earned. A dollar spent is a dollar gone. It's not about how much money you make, but it's about how much money are you able to keep. All right. And so I want to dive into an actual case study that I often use that I'm going to add to the background here. It's a tale of two brothers. And these two brothers, they're the same age, 35 years old, married with two children. They both have 8% interest rate. All right. Same for the same amount of period. We're going to do apples on apples here in terms of what they're contributing and how their money is growing. But what they're actually doing differently is where they're contributing their money to. And that is why we're here today. Brother A believes the old way. It's the way I used to believe. Okay. Contrary to popular belief, I used to work on a 9 to 5. Okay. I used to work on a 9 to 5. Listen, I got my show and tell today. Oops, is that upside down? My show and tell today. All right. I was a happy employee getting promoted. That's my promotion cake. All right. But I'm no longer there. All right. I was a store manager for a super center, right? Making all this money, double six figures. I was happy. But what I didn't understand after, accumulating a 6-figure 401k account is that all I had was all I had, right? So if I wanted to take that money and tap into it and use it for an emergency, that was all I had. There was no leverage. Today we're talking about leverage. So brother A believes in the old way, the way I used to believe, the way 95% of people today believe, because they don't know any better, so they can't do any better. He was putting away $6,500 a year. The employee was matching him at $1,000. His annual premium was $680, right? For a term policy that was only a 30-year term for $600,000. Here's why that's not good. Because what happens after 30 years? What happens when he's in retirement mode? Okay, so look at brother B. Brother B believes in the new way. He understands. He went and did his research like you're doing today. And I appreciate you for tuning in. He went and did his research, right? And he said, well, you know what? What are these people talking about, this retirement readiness income account? I need to figure out how to do this too. I need to figure out how I can keep more money in my pocket. I got to figure out how I can get on the right side of money. And so he went the new way, which now allows him to be able to put $7,200 by himself without the employer match. This is why the employer match isn't all that, is a myth. Okay, it is when you don't know better, you can't do better, because all you know is all you know, and it's what people have taught you all your life. But here's why the match doesn't make as much sense. Brother B, he puts in his money. He doesn't have an employer match, but he has what's called a $600,000 IUL at his youngest age at his most healthiest state, right? Two important factors, young and healthy, makes his premium super low, okay? Because every time he has a birthday, it would have increased for him, but he locked it in at the young age of 35 while he was healthy and a young person. Okay, so who made the right decision? We don't know that yet. We're going to talk about it. After 30 years, brother A believes in the OA, ends up with $858,000, slightly above brother B because he had the employer match. But guess what? All he has is all he has. Again, you see that, this is an open book test. Look at the bottom. It says it's not about how much you make, it's about how much you keep. And here is why. Look at that second line here where it says zero term insurance, right? He has no insurance when he leaves his employer when he's in retirement because they don't allow them to take life insurance, right? When you leave the employer, it's rented insurance. It's no longer rented. You have to have your own insurance. You're on your own, buddy. You're retired. Okay, $65,000 cumulative tax savings and $858,000 total retirement savings. In other words, he's going to end up having to pay some taxes. Brother B, on the other hand, he doesn't have to worry about any taxes. He's slightly behind, but guess what? It's not about how much you make, but how much you keep. Okay, but let's just do a quick scenario here. Let's say brother B ends up with either one of these young gentlemen, right? They're now 65, end up with a stroke, heart attack, cancer, dementia, whatever long-term care needs, because 80% of people will need long-term care in their senior year. They will need it. And so what will the 401k, 403b, 457, TSP, IRA, what will it do for them in their retirement age if they need health care? Because Medicare does not cover long-term care. Medicare does not cover long-term care. And so the 401k, how will that help them? Let's just say they're doing it while they're young. They're 36 years old, ends up with stroke, ends up with a heart attack, 36, 37, 38, 40 something. What will happen? That 401k is going to get depleted and drained of everything? Or will he be able to tap into his $709,000 IUL to live off of while he recuperates from a chronic, critical, or terminal illness? That's what we're talking about here, ladies and gentlemen, right? So if he ends up with a stroke, he ends up with anything, he is covered for long-term care because he will only be able to deplete his death benefit while he's living. That's why it's called life insurance. You use it while you're living. It's not just for your beneficiary when you're gone. It's for you while you're living so that you don't deplete your entire employer plan of all the money that you have to try to stay alive. We had a lady who had cancer. She needed $80,000 for her formula. She would not have lived if she didn't use her IUL so we could strike her a check of $80,000 so that she can be able to pay for her formula so that she can continue to live her life without depleting her entire account. Because that is why 69% of bankruptcies are here today. 69% of bankruptcies are caused by medical challenges that nobody plans to have. Nobody wants to have. Everybody feels like they're feeling good today. Trust me, I know. I was out with my back for 3 days one time. 6 weeks of physical therapy. I didn't see that coming, right? But an IUL, you can tap into your death benefit for certain critical, chronic, and terminal illnesses and use that money as if it's yours. So let's say you have $709,000. How much money did that brother A put inside of his account that he'll have to deplete, okay, whenever he ends up having some type of long-term care need versus brother B who can use his $709,000? I promise you, they probably didn't put all that time, depending. So what did we say? 6,500? I don't have my thing on here. 6,500 times, how much is that times 30 years? I usually have my phone on, but I turned it off so it would not be ringing. Calculator. Okay. Give me 1 second. I'm going to do the math for you because I am not as young as I used to be. All right. So if you're putting away $6,500 a year and he's for 30 years, that is $195,000, right? So $195,000 and he has $858,000 on the table, but that is what he was able to accumulate and save over 30 years. It's showing a 401k of $858,000, how it grew. He contributed about $195,000, but it grew to $858,000. Let's say he has some type of medical challenge. How much of that $858,000 will he have to deplete? And I want you to think about what the bills cost for for medical facilities, for hospitals. All right. If a hospital has something going on in terms of a bill for you, How much do you think it's going to cost if you have cancer, heart attack, stroke? How much of that $858,000 do you feel is going to be used if he has a chronic, critical, or terminal illness? Okay. Cash value, IUL, same thing. All right. He spent about $195,000. But guess what's the difference? Let's talk about what's the difference. Okay. $858,000 for a 401k. That's what you have. All you have is all you have. And once you take the taxes out of that, all you have is what's left. Over here on the right, brother B, he has not only his $864,000 IUL death benefit, but if he has some type of challenge medically, he still has $709,000 in cash value. He still has an additional $709,000 that the other brother A would not have had if he had that challenge. Now let's look at this a little closer. Now this is after they're in retirement. That's not when they're just 65, but now they're in retirement. They're in retirement. Brother A has $97,000 in annual income. This is why I do what I do. Because when I was working at a certain place, there was a certain lady, I won't say her name. She was 82 years old. I don't know if she had to work, but she was there and consistently. Okay. And we see that all the time. People have to go back to work on average in their 70s, 9 to 11 years into retirement. The average person will be back to work. Okay. And I want you to do the math. However, look at what you make today. What is your annual salary today? I want you to take 70% of that. On average, your minimum amount that you're going to need in retirement is going to be 70% of what you're making right now. I want you to go to ssa.gov and I want you to see where you're trending to be at for retirement. Not a whole lot. And so think about what you're going to need monthly at 70% of what you make today versus what Social Security is going to give you if it's still around, because economists say it won't be around by 2034. This is why we do what we do. We want you to have a supplemental or replacement income in case Social Security is not around. And if it is around, you have something that will have supplement it so you can still live your best life, be able to travel, be able to take care of your grandchildren and hummer. All right. So brother A, this is why we go hard. $97,000. How long will $858,000 last you in retirement if you got to pay taxes every year of $32,000 and you're living up $97,000 in annual income? 9 complete years. That's it. 9 years. You're done. You're going back to work, brother, sister, whomever. You're going back to work. Brother B, on the other hand, if he lives to be 100 years old, and I do these type of accounts, and these are real numbers. If he lives to be, because the IUL is going to last you to 120. So it's working for the Asian people all day, right? 120. If brother B dies at age 100, he would have received $3.4 million and left his family to his family. His family would have, I should say, received $3.4 million, and he would have lived off of $3 million. Okay, let's say that correctly. All right, a little over $3 million is what he would have lived off of. So in other words, he would have income for the rest of his life, and his family would have been taken care of. Why? Because the IUL, what happens is the longer you live, the greater your death benefit. Somebody's put that in the chat. The longer you live, the greater your death benefit. Okay. All right. So that's pretty much what I wanted to talk about today. Let me go back to this other one here. I got a few presentations opened up. Let's look at these withdrawals. You have, $323,000 in account value. Let's just look at this real quick. All right. We didn't actually put any numbers in here specifically, but this is an account that we had. And by the time they were 61, they ended up paying $300,000 in premiums for this particular annuity, right? This is an annuity. They ended up taking that amount of money, maybe like that $858,000 that we saw for brother A, put it in an annuity, turned it into an income. We do that all day, every day. Okay. We turn 401ks into annuity. We turn 403bs into annuity. We turn TSPs into annuity. We turn Roth IRA, SEP IRA. We turn it all into an annuity to give you an income for the rest of your life, right? So he takes us $300,000 at 61, and this is his account value is $323,000, because what happens is we give you like a 10% bonus depending on what carrier we use. You can get anywhere from 10 to 32%. Okay, that 32% is only for benefits, of course, but we give you that on top of whatever your money is for your premium. So let's say your 401k you roll over is, in this case, $300,000. You end up with an account value starting at $323,000 to take your income from. You decide you want to wait till your age, as you can see in that yellow arrow, age 67. You end up getting $20,000 for the rest of your life, right? That's how that works. But if you had just the $300,000, how many years would it have taken you if you'd have took that $300,000 and you needed to live off of that $20,000, right? If you had that $300,000 and you needed to live off that $20,000 without it being, a lifetime income, you would only have 15 years. So we got to look at what's going on with the money and how are we using that money? How are we using that money, right? 15 years, because let me tell you, the average person is going to live till they're well over in their 80s, like 87, 89. Male versus females, like 85 and 87. So if that person is 61 and they're, say, going to live to 87, that's 26 years, 15 years, they're already toast. They're gone. Their 401k is gone. If their children or grandchildren don't take care of them, they are shot. They're hurt. Like, they better have something going on and working for them. That is why the annuity gives you that income for the rest of your life. The average person can't live off $20,000 anyway, but it helps for the person that already has their bills paid, maybe, and only thing they have is a need for travel or whatever. You know what I mean? So we just wanted to, show you how people are stopping the bleeding with their employer plans with an annuity, because one thing annuity does is it stops the bleeding. It stops you from losing money in the market. The market is going like this, and the average person can't wait for the market to rebound to keep them working on their job. No, they want the money to just lock in and never ever lose another penny and only go up. That's what an index annuity does for you. It locks your money in place where you can never lose another penny in terms of the market volatility. The market volatility has no impact on your account when you have an indexed annuity. Okay, so that's what we're talking about. If he has, say, an IUL, you can take out these loans that we have here that we're showing, and you can take out loans until you have depleted all of your cash value. That's the other option. But you never lose your earning power. Your money is still growing as if it never left, right? Whenever you have an IUL, that's a wonderful thing, because you could take a loan out of your policy, but it's as if the money is still in there growing at the same rate, but you will have to pay the interest on the loan. And what we have seen is the average has been about 2.9, about 3% on the money that's in there, that you're still going to make even after you pay that interest because of how it grows. Historically speaking, we can't make no income claims. We can't say it's guaranteed. We have to say that past results don't equal future results. Those are disclaimers that we have to put out there. But on average, we see 2.9%, which is still better than a bank. It's still better than a bank account, right? So loan is from carrier's general account. Your money is, the reason why your money is never hurt and is never like losing money and value and impacted by the market is because of the general account that the carriers have. This is why we have bank-owned life insurance and corporate-owned life insurance. In other words, this is why you have BOLI and COLI, BOLI, COLI. You can look that up. But the big, multi-million-dollar, billion-dollar, trillion-dollar companies, they go to banks to do business. And that's why those types of accounts are still around. Those banks don't close, okay? Those corporations don't close when they have their reserves with a carrier, because carriers know how to do money. They've been doing money for, a lot of our carriers are over 110 years old. They've outlasted pandemic after pandemic after pandemic. They know how to do money. But with these type of accounts, your money is inside of a general account. Your money is not touched. What they do is once they make the money on their account, they give you the credit of how your money grew. But you don't lose any money because your money is not tied directly inside of the market. I hope that makes sense. All right. If you don't pay the loan back, the money just comes out of your death benefit. Oh, well, Susie, Brother Watermelon, whoever you leave the money to, they don't get $1 million. They get $1 million minus whatever loans you took during your lifetime to live off the death benefit, because that's how that works. Okay. The power of arbitrage, this showing you the math. Policy is $200,000 in accumulation value. The loans are $100,000. The first $100,000 earns 7%. The second $100,000 earns 7%. There's a 4% loan. You earn 7%. and you pay the loan back at 4%, you still got a 3% gain, just like I just mentioned. So it's amazing. Let's see how this works here. I just wanted you to see what that read. But really, if you have any questions, you can certainly reach out to us. I always want to be strong. I never want to be long. I'm really at my, and I could talk about a little bit more, but I want to be respectful. It is Saturday and I do have somewhere to go as well. But if you have any questions, feel free to reach out to us. You can reach out to us via email, or you can text the word retire to 678-736-6496. That number will come across the screen. Again, I'm Shateka Husser, your benefits bestie, helping you to retire before you expire. So if that's what you desire and what you aspire, I am the one you hire. My goal really is to get your bank account on fire with a whole lot of lifetime tax-free retirement income that you will not outlive. And we do have a partnership program. So if you want to refer us out and you want to partner with us, become one of our silent partners, certainly reach out. We can show you what that looks like. We have some agreements that we hand to people, and we can make that work for you. All right, have an amazing weekend, and we'll see you at the top. We'll be here at noon on Friday, so definitely want you to tap in noon on Friday for part 2 of the annuities.